In this video I embark a 2-week custom painting journey to transform a track speed concept into a dream bike, adding the Southern California vibe to the frame and parts. The first steps are tedious and time consuming. The old paint has to be stripped and all the parts have to be primed and sanded by hand. I will be using different colored primers as the design will be two-tone as well. I sanded off all the original grey primer until there was very little left. I will be priming the frame and fork in black, but the cockpit and the handlebars in white, as they will be painted bright red later. Then all the parts have to be sanded by hand to create an absolutely perfect surface. The whole process takes up to 5 hours to finish all the parts perfectly. Then I put the fork into the frame to section the parts and to separate the color gradient. Due to the fact that I've primed the frame and fork in black, I now have to pre-paint the areas in white that will later get the color gradient. Next I mix the colors for the gradient. The owner of the frame wants a typical Southern California sunset and a transition to fire red at the top of the frame. The order of the colors should always be from lightest to darkest to avoid color shifts in the gradient. That's why I start with yellow and spray the fire red last. I also applied a coat of clear to protect the colors and now have to wet sand all the painted parts again to get a good adhesion for the next coats of paint. Now I have to airbrush the white primed brake cover in red. Here I will show you an old airbrush trick that makes it easy to spray clouds. Tear a paper towel and spray along the torn edge to create the typical shapes of clouds. I lay the paper towel down several times and spray along the edge again and again until I have enough clouds on the frame. Then I work out the clouds freehand. To spray the Californian mountains, I stick masking film on the frame and draw the outlines of the mountains freehand on the film with a marker. Then I cut out the outlines with a cutting knife. I use small pieces of masking film to mask the sunny side of the mountains and spray the contours of the mountains with a darker color on the shady side. I airbrush the grassy hills in the foreground freehand using dark earth tones, then I need all my patience and a size 0 brush to paint a lot of palm trees on the frame. Next up is the coastal highway. I stuck on masking film, cut out the road markings, then sprayed a layer of white to lighten the areas and then gave them their typical light yellow coloring. Now it's time for the details. I use watercolor pencils to draw the cracks and small stones in the asphalt. This only works if the surface has been sanded well beforehand and has enough grip to draw on it. I also use the size 0 brush to give the grass a little more depth with the lighter color. Next I need to mask the areas with the gradient and the palm trees to paint the actual pearl-black color on the lower part of the frame and the fork. It is important to mask accurately so that the transitions are perfect and all the finished areas are well protected. And the masking comes after the painting. I'll mask a thin line that represents the transition between the actual artwork and the black base color. Now it gets complicated again. I have to paint the track logos in grey with a white outline, and the logos should also remain translucent in the area of the artwork. To do this, I will mask them several times, spray a very thin layer of paint on the translucent part, cover it with masking film and spray the logos grey. This is the first layer of masking film that I remove after spraying the logo fill. Now I have to apply the whole masking a second time to spray the white outline. I haven't finished masking yet. After applying clear coat to all the parts, I need to mask all the logos and the artwork again and sand the black areas to ensure adhesion for the matte clear coat. And here it is, after 2 weeks of intense sanding, priming, endless layers of masking tape and hand-painted palm trees, the track speed concept palm tray frame Southern California style. I'd like to thank you for your time if you have made it till the end. Don't miss the showroom footage. See you in the next one. Goodbye.